Let's face it, there hasn't really been a great comic book twist in a while. I mean, sure, there might have been a few decent ones, but there hasn't been one in recent years that got my jaws to hit the floor. I don't know about you, but in a world where we're being bombarded by forgettable content these days, I'm really craving some real quality storytelling. I'm feeling so nostalgic that I went out of my way to create a list on the top 10 comic book twists of all time. Sure, some of these moments may be less of a plot twist and more of a shocking moment, but you get the point. Just let me have my goddamn fun. Let's just get into these classic comic book moments because nostalgia is one hell of a drug. But before we get into this, please be sure to give a like and subscribe to Reverb Comics. You do not want to miss out on our awesome content. Now, starting off our list, we have the 3 Jokers plot twist. To make a long story short, Batman discovered that there are 3 Jokers operating in the DC universe. There's the Clown, the Comedian, and the Golden Age-inspired criminal Joker. Jason Todd executed the Clown since he was the one who left him for dead back in 1988's Batman: A Death in the Family. The remaining 2 Jokers concocted this plan to kidnap Joe Chill and put him into confrontation with Batman in the theater where he shot and killed his parents. They wanted to submerge him in toxic chemicals to create the ultimate Joker. The idea is that they wanted to create a Joker that's fundamentally linked to Batman. The ultimate Joker would be the Joker who took Bruce Wayne's family away and started him on a path to being Batman. In other words, he'd pretty much turn into the Jack Nicholson version of the Joker from Batman 1989. Unfortunately, their plans were foiled by Batman. He managed to rescue Joe Chill from falling into the chemicals and apprehends the criminal Joker. At the last second, the comedian shoots and kills the criminal, leaving one Joker left standing. It turns out that the comedian's real plan all along was to have his own relationship with Batman. He didn't want Batman to know and despise his Joker on a personal level, and he wanted to arrange a reconciliation with him and Joe Chill so that there would be no childhood villain left for him to demonize. The weird part about all this is that Batman can now focus all of his attention on the one Joker. I don't know what it was, but this plot twist just did not sit well with me. It felt gimmicky, and having more than one Joker around this whole time makes the Joker feel much less competent. But I gotta admit, this storyline was pretty interesting nonetheless. The next moment we have is Spider-Man revealing his identity to the public in Civil War. Similar to Captain America Civil War, a Superhero Registration Act is put into place after a group of young teenage superheroes fail to handle a situation well. Unfortunately for Speedball and his crew, the villain that they were trying to apprehend used his powers and caused a huge explosion, killing many in the area. Iron Man, along with all of the other superheroes that don't operate with a secret identity, work alongside the government to push for the Registration Act that regulates superheroes. Spider-Man is hesitant at first to reveal his identity to the rest of the world. His rationale is that his secret identity is the only thing that keeps his loved ones safe from villains. But Tony reassures him that he has the resources to keep Mary Jane and Aunt May safe should the need arise. But in typical Peter Parker luck, after he revealed his identity, Aunt May got killed by a villain. This led to the infamous storyline where Peter makes a deal with Mephisto to restore his secret identity and bring Aunt May back, but at the cost of his marriage with Mary Jane. In fairness, it was Mary Jane who took the deal with Mephisto, but you get the point. Marvel, just please give Spidey a break already. The next moment we have is Batman attempting to kill Darkseid in Final Crisis. To make a long story short, Darkseid was trying to use the anti-life equation to enslave the multiverse and kill billions. This pretty much put Batman in a situation where he had no choice but to compromise his moral integrity. He got his hands on a gun with a radion bullet, a special type of bullet that mortally wounds new gods, and mortally wounded Darkseid. Darkseid, in retaliation, used his Omega beams to kill Batman. This moment would be higher on the list if it wasn't for the fact that what happened here was pretty inconsequential. Both Batman and Darkseid came back from the dead. But this still was a jaw-dropping moment nonetheless. It's not often that you get to see the main DC Comics continuity Batman drop his no guns and no killing rules. I think it's safe to say that Hal Jordan has been through some things. Hal witnessed the destruction of his home Coast City at the hands of Mongol and Cyborg Superman. As a consequence of this, he was driven mad and did everything he could to try and bring Coast City back. He went back to Oa, killed a bunch of Green Lanterns, got his hands on a bunch of Green Lantern rings, and tried to rewrite the universe to his liking. Somewhere along Hal's journey, he got possessed by Parallax, which caused him to go off the deep end. The situation was so bad that Oliver Queen, one of Hal's closest friends, had to kill him to stop the madness. The next greatest comic book twist is Barry Allen officially coming back from the dead in Final Crisis. He was first seen attempting to outrun the Black Racer and stop the bullet that was going to kill Orion. It turns out that it was Zoom who brought him back. Zoom sent a subliminal pulse into the Speed Force to draw back the remains of Barry's self-awareness, which led to Barry's reappearance during Final Crisis. That's a true testament to how much Eobard Thawne hates Barry. Instead of letting him die, he brings him back to life to try and make his life miserable once again. and I thought I was difficult. This was a very big moment in the world of DC Comics. Barry Allen had one of the longest deaths in comic history. He died in Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1985 and came back to life in Flash Rebirth in 2009. Another great moment is when Oracle officially became canon to the main DC Comics continuity. As we all know, the Joker shot Barbara in her spinal cord, causing her to become paralyzed from the waist down. For a while, fans were not sure if this event from Alan Moore's The Killing Joke was canon to the main DC Comics continuity. It wasn't until Suicide Squad issue number 23 in 1989 that fans got their answer. In that issue, it's revealed that she's been a valuable asset to other superheroes, providing them intelligence through her computer hacking skills as Oracle. To me, this was a great moment as it made DC Comics feel real and grounded. In a universe where people can come back from the dead, it's hard to make it feel as if anything is of consequence. Having there be serious repercussions to the vigilante lifestyle makes it feel as though there are big stakes in DC Comics. I also like how Barbara overcame her demons and persevered. To me, not letting her disability get in the way of her fighting the good fight makes her a badass. Now, I kinda like and dislike this twist, and I'll tell you why. On one hand, I like how Barry Allen is not responsible for the creation of the New 52. Barry Allen is a character that's accomplished a lot and is respected by pretty much every superhero in the DC universe. So it didn't feel right to have him be responsible for the creation of the New 52. For those of you who don't know, the New 52 timeline was not received well by longtime DC Comics fans. The writers basically rehashed old famous storylines and recharacterized iconic heroes in ways that didn't sit well with the fans. For instance, instead of Superman being hopeful and optimistic, the New 52 Superman had a bit of an edge to him. I dislike this twist because the way the New 52 came to be is odd and convoluted. It turns out that Dr. Manhattan was behind the creation of the New 52 as well. He saw visions of a metahuman arms race that led to World War III. Hence, he decided to modify the DC Universe's timeline to fix things. But at the same time, he was also influenced by the Great Darkness. After Dr. Manhattan made his changes, the Justice Society never formed, and 10 years of history was stolen from the New Earth. And a character named Pandora simultaneously merged the DC Universe with the Wildstorm and Vertigo worlds. So it wasn't just Barry Allen, but Dr. Manhattan, the Great Darkness, and Pandora who created the New 52. And to be honest, there was probably so many other things that I did not touch on, so if you have a better way of describing how the New 52 was created, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, I don't know about you, but Jason Todd coming back from the dead as the Red Hood is one of the best comic book twists, period. I even did a whole video on the significance of this. To me, I love this moment as they didn't bring Jason Todd back from the dead for the sake of bringing him back. To me, there was a well thought out storytelling plan for bringing him back to life. Not only does Jason Todd represent Batman's greatest failures, but he also represents what Batman's not capable of doing. And to be honest, I don't blame Jason Todd for acting out. After learning that Batman failed to save him from the Joker, he returns to Gotham to find out Gotham's biggest criminals are still at large, and he was replaced as Robin. Talk about a punch in the gut. Ever since, Jason Todd has been a fan favorite character in the Batman mythos for good reason. I even love how he wears his demons on his sleeves. It's fitting that he took on the Red Hood mantle considering the Joker used to be a version of the Red Hood. I mean, talk about being layered and hardcore. Aside from Jason Todd coming back from the dead, the death of Gwen Stacy is one of the most pivotal moments in comics history. In Amazing Spider-Man issue 121, the Green Goblin learns Spider-Man's secret identity and abducts Gwen Stacy. During the battle, Green Goblin throws her off the Brooklyn Bridge, resulting in her death. This was a pivotal moment as it wasn't considered common for major members of a superhero's supporting cast to be killed. The release is widely said to have ended the Silver Age of comics and jump-started the Bronze Age, which emphasized more mature subject matter. Personally, this is one of my favorite twists as it led to an era in comics where things didn't have to go back to status quo all of the time. To me, the greatest comic book twist was featured in Tom King's Mr. Miracle. This was one of the most powerful stories I've read in a really long time. The story follows Scott Free as he's learning to live with his trauma, anxiety, and depression. Throughout the story, he's questioning the very reality of everything around him. He's having trouble telling what's real and what's fake. Just for some context, Mr. Miracle's dad, Highfather, gave him up as a baby to Darkseid so that they can end the war between Apocalypse and New Genesis. I know, sounds pretty wonky to me too. Highfather gave up Scott Free to grow up in Apocalypse, and Darkseid gave up Orion to grow up in New Genesis. Apocalypse, by the way, is not a great place. It's pretty safe to say that Scott had a very messed up childhood. Even though Scott eventually escaped, he's still haunted by his past, which comes in the manifestation of the sentence Darkseid is. No matter how much progress he makes in loving himself, he always gets haunted by Darkseid is. The comic book twist comes along at the end of the story when Scott gets haunted by Darkseid, even though, spoilers, he kills Darkseid. When I read this story, I interpreted it as Scott finally learning to be happy with his wife and kids, despite living with his mental health issues for the rest of his life. But the ending could also be interpreted as Mr. Miracle not actually having killed Darkseid and is now living inside the anti-life equation. I love this twist since either way he's choosing to be happy regardless of whether or not the reality that he's living in is real or fake. Anyways, those are my thoughts. But what do you think? Do you agree with this list? Which comic book twist do you think deserves credit? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, thanks a million for watching. Please be sure to give a like and subscribe to Reverb Comics so that you do not miss out on our awesome content. Stay groovy.